And I went to bed at like 7:30 last night just to prepare for our
Ready to go
hey,
now.
we got Nicole Donnelly. She's right above me. She's right up. Nicole, happy Monday to you. How are you, my friend?
Oh my gosh, I've been so excited about this conversation too. I am so stoked to talk to Megan all about women in manufacturing, and she's just a beast.
She's a
Yep.
powerhouse. So
Yes.
you know what? So let's talk about Megan for a little bit since she's not on the stage yet, and just let's talk. Oh wait, she's already here. Megan, happy Monday. How are you? I didn't realize you were here.
Good. How are you doing? I got it all figured out, so hopefully it's streaming to
What?
my.
Are we
my
streaming
lap.
to you?
Yeah.
Oh my
I hope
goodness
so.
gracious. So, all right, guys. Hey, Kurt Anderson here, my co-host, my brother from another mother. We got Damon Bastulka on the other side of the country, living at large in Seattle. We've got my partner in crime right above me. We've got Nicole Donnelly, DMG Digital, the one, the only. And of course, it is our honor. It is our privilege to introduce, and I can't imagine you're not familiar with this young lady, Megan Zimba, the maven of manufacturing. Megan, happy Monday. How are you?
Good. Happy Monday, everyone. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited. I was
Oh,
definitely looking forward to this conversation because I was on once before and I had a lot of fun. So.
Well, so Nicole, Damon, we have a repeat offender here, so she didn't learn enough the first time, and so she's a glutton for punishment. She's coming back, but hey, we've got a bunch of people dropping notes here. So
rolling
hey, Karen,
in the comments.
Happy
Hi,
Monday. We've got Dinesh here today. We've got Mashhood here. Hello to you. Elizabeth is here. Man, we've got all sorts of fun friends. So, guys, hey, Whitney Houston's in the house today.
Whitney.
So, hey, I just had a great
Hi,
conversation
Whitney.
with
John.
Whitney. Man, I just talked with Whitney on Friday, so we're doing some fun things. So, Whitney, happy Friday. Hope you guys had a great weekend. So, all right, let's kick things off. Now, Megan, if you recall, since you are a repeat offender, you were on the program before, and it happened to be a holiday around that time. Damon?
Yep.
It was Thanksgiving week, just for a little fresh reminder to everybody. And so we open up with the program talking about who and what we were thankful for. Megan, I don't know if you remember that at all, but I'm going to change gears. I'm throwing a little curveball at you today. Okay.
Okay.
So last time we talked, I asked you who you were grateful, who you were thankful for, because it was around Thanksgiving time. It was like a couple years ago.
Yep.
Today, I have a little different question for you. Are you ready? Are you sitting down? You ready for this one?
I'm sitting down. Yep.
Okay, here we go, Megan.
Brace yourself.
Yep.
Seatbelt strap, Megan Zimba. When you were a little girl growing up, and Damon, I don't know if you remember this from our last episode. Guess where she's from originally? Upstate New York. For all of us upstaters, right?
Oh.
She's originally from upstate New York. So, Megan, when you were a little girl growing up, became this amazing, incredible manufacturing rock star that you are. When you were a little girl growing up, who was your hero? Who was your hero as a little girl growing up?
That's such a tough question, but I'm going to have to, and this is probably cliche of me saying, but I'm just going to have to say my mom because she took care of 6 of us when my dad was working. So I'm the youngest of 6. They've been married over 50 years, and she was a rock star stay-at-home mom, and we all wanted to be mothers because of her. We all wanted to be married and have kids. And she always encouraged us to try things and never back down for anything. And she highly encouraged us all to pursue college and try to be as successful as we can because she felt that she kind of lost that opportunity. She made a huge sacrifice to quit nursing to be a stay-at-home mom. And she just, she's a rock star. Every single birthday that we had, we each had our own custom cake that she made. And that's why I do what I do with my kids on their birthdays. I make them their own homemade cake. And whatever they tell me they want, I try to make it. I'm not the best cake designer, but, I at least try and the kids have fun with it. So definitely my mom.
That's awesome.
Well, hey, that's one of our favorite answers, Megan. And mom's name, can you share mom's name with us, please?
Yeah, her name is Kathy or Kathleen.
Perfect.
She's
All right.
awesome.
Hey,
Nice.
big shout out to Kathy. So when she catches us later, how proud, what a wonderful just powerhouse that she created. So whatever she did, great role model, helping, raise six kids. And just, you're a mom of 3 yourself. And just, we just love having you on the show. And hey, we've got Bonnie here today. Bonnie, a wonderful manufacturer. And Elizabeth says, hey, Long Island, New York here. My mom too. So Elizabeth, thank you for dropping. Guys, drop comments in the chat box. Let us know that you're out there. Let us know where you're coming from. drop a note and a hello to Megan. Bring those questions on. And so,
Yeah.
Damon, Nicole, you guys fire in the questions. I'm going to kick off with the first one. Megan, we talked about it a little bit last time, but for folks that aren't familiar with you, you are the maven of manufacturing. Curious minds want to know, can you please share, give us a little background of mavens of manufacturing? What led you to bring your superpowers and to make a world better, a better place with this whole drive towards manufacturing?
Yeah, so I'm a technical writer by trade for industrial manufacturers. And when COVID hit, I was kind of going through this transition period of quitting my job and then starting Z Ink Solutions, which is my writing business. And then at the time when I was married, my husband lost his job. So I had to go back to corporate, started working for this chemical etching company right around COVID. And a lot of people were going to LinkedIn and other channels to create content to kind of maintain their sanity. And I just saw a lot of conversations around the issues happening in our sector. And it was dealing with a bunch of guys. So when I tried suggesting women guests, they would be like, oh yeah, we'll reach out to them. And then they never did. So I said, screw it. I'm just going to start Mavens of Manufacturing. And the reason why I did it and called it Mavens of Manufacturing is I noticed a trend among women who were in engineering and technology and manufacturing using the term Maven. So there was this assumption that I saw that people were like, oh, Maven is a female. And it's not. It's a gender neutral word, and it means connoisseur or expert. So I didn't want to create another woman in something podcast because I just wanted to focus on the skill sets that women are bringing to the sector and how they're setting the new standards for the industry. So I created Mavens Manufacturing. I sent out a note and said, hey, if anybody's interested in sharing your story, please let me know. And I actually booked up until April of the following year. So I made the announcement in December, had shows booked up until April, and it's just been going strong ever since. And it's been a lot of fun. Really crazy because I just started it for fun and now it's turned into like a business of its own. So
That's
awesome.
what happens when you're passionate about something. It's amazing.
Yeah. So it's kind of weird that like you're saying the Mavens of Manufacturing because my whole focus was just on the women who are, because they're the true Mavens of Manufacturing. They're actually putting their boots to the ground and creating these products and stuff. I just am really good at storytelling and connecting with people and bridging gaps. So I just wanted to make that platform for them to feel comfortable enough and be their authentic selves and share why they love this sector, because there is some misconception still that, you know, this isn't a place for women or it's not as creative, or some women are afraid to come to it because they don't know if they'd fit in. And I've met so many amazing women already just through Mavens. So I just want to show that next generation and the current generations who might not be happy with their current career that, hey, you can change your mind and come join us. We have a lot of fun here. So come join the fun.
Man, I have a question for you.
Boom.
Yeah.
Golly.
So good. What is it about, you mentioned specifically that women bring unique skill sets to manufacturing. What have you seen? Because you've met and so many amazing mavens and women in manufacturing. What are some of the unique skill sets that you think or that you've seen that women are bringing?
So I think women are better at building relationships when we're not competing with one another, because I've also seen the negative aspect of being in a male-dominated industry. We tend to compete for that only spot we thought was at the table when actually there's more seats there. We can either build our own table or just bring up more chairs. So we're very collaborative, and I think we're very understanding as well too. And we tend to listen a little bit more, and we want everybody to be successful. So I have a lot of women that I'm connected to. I have to shout out Automation Ladies, Nikki and Allie Gonzalez and Courtney Fernandez. And then there's another manufacturing podcast that just came out. Her name is Shay, and it's called Manufacturing Muscle. So she's going to be on the show later on, and then I might be on her podcast as well too. But we're not here really to compete with one another. Like, we want each other to be successful. And I told that to every girl that I've come across. Like, I'm not competing with you. I want you to beat me. I want you to be better than me. And that's the only way we're going to be successful in this type of industry, is if we support one another. So I think we bring a lot of creativity as well too. And we just bring a different perspective. Like, you can't make things just for one group. You have to be able to make things for different groups. And one of the biggest conversations that I am really curious about is all of the PPE stuff that's coming out. So there's plenty of women who've made a lot of clothing brands for the specific industry, and they're just more form fitting and they're fashionable. And a lot of people think that's kind of crazy to think of, but it actually isn't. Like, there's a lot of women who like to express who they are through their fashion. And
Yep.
there was a lot of ugly clothes in this industry.
Oh
before
god. Oh god. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was.
It's all the
So-
guys, right? It's all
Yeah.
agreements of us unfashionable guys that are just making a mess of things, right?
Yeah. So it's cool to see that perspective of things. And like shoes, like I don't think people understand how many times women have had to change their shoes. So now Xena Workwear is one of the companies that I follow very closely. She made ththese really cute boots, steel toe boots, and like they're just amazing. Like I love them. So I'm hoping to get a pair soon. I just been spending my money elsewhere, not on the shoes, but she's an amazing lady. And I think it's cool that, you know, they bring that perspective and that creativity to the sector.
Well, Megan, I love that. And let's give a few shout outs. Man, the chat box is on
Oh,
fire
it's going,
already.
it's
So
going
again, guys,
crazy.
you're
Going
just
crazy.
joining us. If again, no introduction needed. And I know you are super humble, Megan, but in my book, you're still the maven of manufacturing. But hey, we're here talking mavens of manufacturing. And Nathan says, awesome contribution. We've got Nikhil, we've got Sean coming from Nova Scotia.
Oh, that's
friend
awesome.
From India. We've got all sorts of folks. Whitney drops a note here. Nice to see you, Megan. She's going to be back in Milwaukee.
Yay.
Mr. Think Bigger
And
himself is
bigger.
here today. And boy, we've got guys again.
Kelly.
Keep that chat box. Bonnie says, "Good for you, Megan. Passion wins." We got Jess in here today. Had no idea Maven is a general neutral term. That's
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
point. So again, guys, Damon, if you keep an eye if I'm missing anything, or Nicole if I'm missing anything, but let's keep
You got
this. Hey, and I'm familiar that Shay is amazing. So a lot of great comments here. Keep them coming. So all right, let's go here, Megan. So you are a fierce advocate for young folks, high schoolers. When you and I first met, I mean, it was like manufacturing month, and like you were all over the place. Our little kind of the manufacturing mafia, if you will, you know, the group of rock stars that you hang out with, just fierce advocates of getting young folks fired up and excited about manufacturing. Go there a little bit. Like, why should young people be considering manufacturing as a career ahead of them? Why should all three of us on the stage here? We are girl moms and dads here. Nicole, Damon, and myself. You're such an inspiration for our daughters. Why should young folks, in particular young ladies, be considering a career in manufacturing?
Because one, we need them. We got the labor shortage that's around, right? And if we don't start filling it, it's not just an economic threat, it's actually a national security threat. Manufacturing is what makes the world go round. And I think a lot of people take for granted that, you know, there's small products that we don't know the whole process behind making those small products. Like, it's not just something very simple to create something as small as like a thin metal piece that's put into our cell phones. Like, there's a lot of energy and thought that goes into creating something that thin and not sustainable to make something last as long as it does. So we need younger people because they look at the world from a different perspective than we do. And the next generation is called the digital natives for a reason. They're so connected. So they're going to understand technology a lot better than some of the older generations. And we definitely need that for all of the advanced technologies and the automation that's happening. And in another perspective too, like, it's just a place for everyone. You don't have to necessarily work well with your hands. You don't necessarily need to be good at like math or science. You could be a creative writer. Like, that's where I started out. And then I found out about professional writing. You could be, you know, someone that's good in finance. There's a lot of companies that need people who are good at numbers and crunching those numbers. There's supply chain, there's distribution, there's packaging. There's so many opportunities for people to come here and whatever they value, put their heart and soul into that and make something really great. And if we don't start closing these gaps, again, like I mentioned before, we have a really huge national security threat on our hands if we don't start bringing back the pride and passion in American manufacturing. But that's just like my opinion. So I think we need to just get them exposed to it, let them see the difference that they can make. Because there's a lot of kids out there that do want to provide value. I know there's this assumption that the next generation doesn't want to work and they all want to be some sort of influencer like the Kardashians. But I've talked to so many students, and that's not the case at all. Like, we just have to have the conversation with them.
That's amazing.
How about this comment, Nicole? Megan has nailed a couple of
Yep.
critical elements manufacturing is required. Justin, I think I saw he dropped a comment. Bring domestic manufacturing back and end the supply chain issues. Okay, all right. We just need to kind of just save
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
one. Okay.
You hit something a while ago, though. You said something you didn't even think about it. You said something about women, you know, places in manufacturing where you build your own table or bring more chairs. I mean, I'm going to tell you from my experience that the women I worked with in manufacturing taught me more about being a good leader and running a good business than I would have ever learned anywhere else, because they're so good at that, so good at putting together groups of dissimilar people, so good at empowering others to be really good at what they do. And I was just fortunate to be able to do it. But you went over it quickly, and I think we should go back, think about that a bit, because we need them in manufacturing more than we even realize.
Yeah, I agree. And hey, Katie's here today. So Katie,
Boom.
I
Good
gave
one,
up
Katie.
I gave up smoking last month, but you know what? So what's funny is so anyway, what's funny is I was just telling somebody this morning. So Nicole, Damon, and I we had a Gen Zer on the was millennial or Gen Zer on the show a couple weeks ago, and he was making fun of us because Damon and I still had our pens and we were still writing. And I'm like Damon, he's waiting for us to get our inkwell out and dip our ink, he's like, oh, I'm all digital. I do everything on tablets. But all right, let's go here. So I just did a couple of site tours this morning. Everybody on the panel, everybody on it's going to absolutely love this. So the SBDC, Small Business Development Center, State Director of New York, wanted to visit a couple of manufacturers. So I took her to a couple of manufacturers this morning. And this one tour that we went on, this company is so cutting edge, Damon. You're going to love this. They have key fobs to let their employees come in virtually any time to work on the floor. So like, kids are in a basketball tournament over the weekend. They could come in at 3 a.m. and just knock down a couple hours of their shift and then be with their family when they need to. They could come in at any time. They have a couple of requirements, 2 people on a cell or whatever it might look like. But, very diverse crowd, lots of women. And you know who the plant manager is? My dear friend, Andrea. She is woman. Hear me roar. So Megan, what are you hearing as far as like the needs for flexibility, diversity? Let's go there a little bit if you could. How can manufacturers help inspire that flexible workforce?
So I think one, we just need to recognize that it is possible in some situations. I don't think in every situation it can be possible, but then again, that's going to determine on the type of work that an employee is looking for and who they're most compatible with when they're trying to find a job. I'm a writer, so I can work from anywhere as long as there's a laptop and a good Wi-Fi connection. So there's really no excuse for me to have to be anywhere specific for a certain amount of time. And creatives are just more weird with how we create. I guess weird is the wrong word, but I can't write in an office when there's 20 other people in the office and they keep coming to me, asking me all kinds of questions. It just kind of disrupts my workflow. And most of the time when I do write, it's late at night because my kids are sleeping. So I have weird work hours. I don't work the same set of hours all the time. But when you're on the shop floor, it's a little bit different. And I think there's a way to create a flex schedule where you're getting those hours. I'm not too familiar with what the laws are state by state. So I don't know if there's something that affects that. But if you can let a person decide to come in early so they can leave earlier, so they can pick up their kids, I know that would be extremely helpful for some families, because sometimes they split it up where depending on the parent's schedule, one can drop them off in the morning and then the other person can pick them up in the afternoon if they have that alternating schedule. The other thing that's really interesting is I just had a conversation last week with Angie Simon, and she created this heavy metal summer experience where it's teaching kids about the trades, but she comes from the construction industry. And one of the things that they're creating are actually breastfeeding pods for construction sites. So any woman that's in construction actually has a private space on site to go and pump if they need to pump. So I think there's other factors involved too that would help more women get attractive. For diversity, I mean, we have to start having tough conversations around diversity. In the United States, because we have such a melting pot of different cultures and experiences and identities, we really need to start understanding why it's important for us to accept someone that might not identify in a certain way that we're all used to identifying in. So we have to kind of take a step back outside of our own personal experiences and ask ourselves some really hard questions of like, why a certain thing might bother someone else, and then how we can make it more comfortable for facilities to be more inclusive in terms of those issues that we see every day on the media. So what kind of inclusive language can you include in your job description? How can you put that into your work culture and your environment? Like, you don't have to agree with people's personal opinions, but you should respect them as a human being. And I think once we can have those hard conversations and open dialogue, it would be a lot better for leadership and their companies as a whole, because then you're attracting that next generation, which that is a really hot topic for Gen Z. And my daughter is part of it. Her and I have had some pretty deep conversations about her friends and herself. And it matters to them. So how can we do that? And then what sort of organizations can you partner with? So I know a ton of organizations. I'm going to call out Kara Branch. She's doing amazing things. She started out as a chemical engineer. She now founded this Black Girls Do Engineer organization. And it's because her daughter came up to her and said she wanted to be a software engineer. Kara's like, when I was in the chemical space, she's like, I was the only woman for the most part, and I was the only woman of color for the next part. So I didn't want her to go through the same adversity experiences that I went through. So she started this Black Girls Do Engineer to help bring awareness to Black girls in her community about the STEM opportunities that exist. And I think within 3 years, she had 3 chapters because it grew so much. So we just have to start having these conversations, because if we think that, oh, they're just not interested, and oh, if we just wait around, people will come. No, we have to be more proactive and have these conversations, because nobody's going to pursue something if they're not aware of it, or if they don't see themselves either.
Well, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. And Damon, did you want to drop a comment?
No,
I have a question for
good
you.
stuff.
Actually.
It's good stuff, because the couple things just right off the top. I mean, if you don't have all your documentation in a couple different languages right now, what are you doing? I mean, just simple stuff. And when you talk about the words we use, the things we do, we've been doing a lot of work with this in clients, and it's amazing when you go back and look at stuff and you say, why did we do it like that? We have to have these conversations, because we don't even know that we're pushing people away.
Yeah. That's my question. I think a lot of folks are just ignorant about it.
Yeah.
And so what, Megan, as an advocate, what are some things specifically that you think manufacturers need to be thinking about so that we can, because ignorance is no excuse. So what specifically should they be thinking about, and we need to be thinking about in this industry that people should be including when they're thinking about inclusivity and diversity? Because you're right on. I think people might, feel a little bit lost about, where do I start? What do I do?
I think you need to start with your employees and ask them how their experience working with their company has been, because you're not going to know what you're doing wrong unless you have those conversations with your employees. And you need to make it a safe space for them to be open and transparent about it. I've worked with a lot of companies where ego just got in the way and they weren't comfortable having an issue. Like, we have to get the stigma out of our minds that if we make mistakes and we're not doing things right, then that means we're a failure and we're going to lose business. That's not what that means. As long as we're 1% better tomorrow than we were today, that's still a step towards progress. So we really need to just change our perspective on, what failure is and what mistakes are, and get our egos out of the way and just be more open to having some of these tough conversations. And again, on the flip side of that, people who are applying for jobs also need to take some responsibility as well, in my opinion. If you're not compatible with a company, then don't apply there. Find a company that you are compatible with, because there's a lot of places that have open positions now. So it's not just up to the employer. There's some work that's got to be done on the employer side as well, too. And if you're having these conversations and someone gets offended, you got to start asking, okay, why did I offend you? And kind of express that it wasn't intentional. If it was intentional, then I'm going to question some of your business ethic. But yeah, we just got to be more open to have conversations. Like right now, I think a lot of people are oversensitive to some things, and that's all good and well. But when we need to work together to bring things together in our economy, we have to learn to bring respect back and just agree to disagree.
Yep.
I might make people mad about that. But then
Well,
So
it's
true.
true though. So true. I mean, you're not going to agree with everything of everybody else around you, and you're in a manufacturing space. You can be in that place with 100 other people, but it's the people.
Yeah.
When you look at the person, and are they there working together, trying to help do what you're supposed to do? That's the main thing.
Yeah. And it's tough when you're on site with people, because like you have times you probably spend more time with that person next to you than you are, family or your spouse or whatever that might look like. But Nicole, there are a couple of comments I want to give. I pulled back up here. Justin says,
that's a good one.
Kids want to work. We just need to help them find their passion. I want to stick on that for a minute. Brittany, thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you for your comments. Katie had a good comment in here. The manufacturing is the driving force of our economy. But Nicole, as a daughter of a manufacturer, you grew up in I want to slide into this, Megan. So I want to slide in. Let's throw in like our marketing hat. I want to talk about Z Inc. Your superpowers there. Nicole, you're a fierce marketer. Grew up as a daughter of a manufacturer. What advice do you have? And then I'm going to come to you, Megan, with a similar question. How do you feel you can help young people be passionate about manufacturing?
I think the more that you really understand what people are making, like like what goes into the making of the product, it's really thrilling, and understanding how that's impacting a much larger scale. So like Megan, you mentioned earlier, some people are manufacturing these like really tiny parts, right? But if they don't step back and see like what is this part for? How's it being used? What is the greater impact this part is having? If they can see and understand the larger picture of what it is that they're making and understand, that was, I think for me, what got me really excited was like, this isn't just like some big square metal box that we're, making for these people. This is actually something that's really, impacting the environment and helping in those ways. So being able to understand what the greater picture of it, I think helped me, and I don't know, potentially help others.
So, Megan, with all the high school kids that you're teaching, coaching, your workshops, your speaking gigs, everything that you're doing, just a fierce advocate, what are some things that you hear that really resonates with young folks where they're like, I had no idea how cool this was? What are any success stories you want to share there?
So I just went and visited the high school that I graduated from to get to know I'm going to mess up the acronym, but it's one of the first robotic league teams. It's not the FRC. I think it's the first tech challenge team, FTC. I'm just learning this stuff as I'm going. But they were telling me that, the reason why they joined the robotics team is because they wanted to learn more of the soft skills. And I think we're doing a terrible job instilling the soft skills in the kids that are going to school today. So they want to work. One of the things my daughter was really terrible at was face-to-face communication, because you have to kind of figure they're all connected to their cell phones one way or the other.
Yeah.
But the thing is because they are connected to their phones, they're also researching a lot of things. So I thought my daughter was just taking pictures and posting them on Instagram like they do, but she was actually doing research on all of her makeup products, all of her facial products, all of her clothes. The other big thing that I noticed is they like thrifting. So they don't like buying new. Well, I'm not going to say they as all encompassing them in a general sense, but my daughter, for instance, she didn't like buying new clothes. Like she likes going thrift shopping because she's like, well, they look brand new. Why does it matter? And it saves energy if we're not buying new clothes all the time and wasting all this energy. And I was just like, what? Like, where the hell did that come from? Like, I was just blown away. So I think the other thing too is a lot of them were interested in sustainability from the conversations that I had. Like they want to know how we can create value in terms of like not wasting so much energy or putting so much pollution in the earth. And yes, that might be a different opinion than what other people have, but this is some of the stuff that they're interested in. One person that I talked to on the tech team, she's like, I just wanted to learn how to public speak better, because she's like, I don't know how to do that very well. I get tensed up when I shake. She's like, I actually want to work. I don't want to say mortuary. She basically wants to work with dead bodies, which I thought was interesting. But again, like she's learning all this new technology and everything. And one of the things that they really liked about being on the first robotics team is they were able to meet professionals within industry and learn about what they were doing, which made them even more excited because some of the mentors and what they were talking about, that doesn't get taught in school. So they weren't able to understand like the height of the opportunities available until they joined this team and they met other people outside of their region talking about the things that they were doing. So I think we need to figure out ways on how to connect them outside of their community as well too. And one of the things that I did is I had a virtual summit a few years back. It was right around when COVID was still kind of prevalent and manufacturers didn't want to open up their doors because they just didn't want to get kids sick. So I actually invited 8 presenters in, Jake Hall, Tim Wilborn, Amber Wilborn, Aaron Prather. I had Jesse Salazar, who at the time was part of the Department of Defense at the Pentagon. They all came in and talked about some of the things that they were doing in engineering and manufacturing. And the kids got really excited about it because they were like, we're not learning about any of that. So I think we just need to be a little bit more creative and then have conversations and really ask these kids what they like, what they're passionate about. It's just a simple conversation that you would have with any old stranger, like you just got to be willing to go in front of them and talk to them about it. The other thing is too, is I think we need to do something to inspire the teachers to get them excited again, because I think they're overwhelmed as well. They don't get paid enough for what they do, in my opinion. So I think if we can give them, I just heard this word, it was like an externalship or internship, where some communities are taking teachers and actually giving them an opportunity to upskill their skill set, and they're learning what people in the actual industry are doing so that they can take that information and bring it back to the schools and teach the kids. So I think that's something we need to consider too.
Well, that's fantastic.
Super cool.
So everybody join us. If you're coming in over the top of the hour, we're here with Megan Ziemba today, Z Inc., the maven of manufacturing. And I just want to pull up a comment here from Kelly. Another opportunity is give space that allows others to be their authentic self, meet people where they are, invite them to see what they can do in the manufacturing world. And we have a question I want to put out. I don't want to put anybody on the spot. Megan, here you go. I'm going to go there. What suggestions do you have to deal with oversensitivity? How does it affect productivity? Any thoughts, comments on that question there from Karen? Karen, thank you for the question.
Yeah.
How does it affect? I always want to ask why someone might be oversensitive about something. So I try to ask why. So if someone gets upset about something, I want to take them aside and be like, okay, this really upset you. Why did that upset you? And I let them know that I'm not the smartest person in the world either. So I'm going to have learning experiences myself. And I think once you find that common ground and that understanding, one, that's going to let them know that you're willing to open up your doors to your own self and admit that you don't know everything. And hey, I might be coming up short here, but I want to have this conversation because I want to better myself as well too. So that's going to show that you care. And employees who work with companies with leadership that cares, they're always more productive, in my opinion. Like, so there's some companies that I've worked with and the leaders that were like, hey, let's do one-on-one coffees. Let's have a conversation. Where are you struggling? What can I help you with? Where the leadership kind of acted like an employee themselves instead of like, oh, I'm the big dog CEO. Employees like that. They appreciated that more, and they actually wanted to come to work and do good for the rest of the team. So it really does start with leadership. And I think we just need to be careful about some people's oversensitivity as well too, because you never know what's going on in people's lives. One manager that I had, she gave us mental health days. So she's like, if you need to leave in the middle of the day because something's going on, just tell me you need to take a mental health day and you can leave and I'll figure the rest of the day out for you. She's like, as long as you're not overusing that or over abusing it, she's like, I don't care. Just go refresh, reset, because if you're having a bad day, it's going to be on your mind for the rest of the day and you're not going to get anything done. I don't know how that would work out on a shop floor, to be honest, because you can't really just let people leave whenever they want because you have to be a production. So that's something that I would need to like do research on or think more about because it's a different setting. It's not going to be the same for every place in your facility.
Well, more great comments here. We've got
Yeah.
Dean says, people are not failures, only projects. Kelly drops another great comment here about a youth apprentice program. Damon, we got our buddy Mark Hill. Mark
Mark
happy.
Hill. How
He's
you doing, Mark?
Illinois. So every high schooler should read So Good They Can't Ignore You. So that's a great suggestion there. We've got Carrie dropping a note. Our community does teacher counselor externship during the summer. So that is fantastic. Nice. Thank you, Carrie. Again, guys, thank you for the comments here. How about this applause from Rebecca? Rebecca, happy Monday. Teach the teacher. Let's slide on our marketing hats. Okay, let's go there. So we've got some marketing minds on stage. We've got some marketing minds in the crowd here. Manufacturers, not always synonymous with marketing. I know that might be a little shocker there, right? Megan, what inspired you to bring your superpowers from a marketing standpoint, copywriting? Let's go a little bit about what are you seeing with manufacturers? What should they be doing? What are they not doing from your perspective, from a marketing standpoint?
I think they're getting better at it, but for whatever reason, they really aren't very good at sharing their stories. So when I first started out back in 2008, one of the things that kept coming up was like, well, why would I share that? What we do is boring. There's no value behind it. So I like to try to take those quote unquote boring components and find out what they're actually being used for. So I mentioned that I worked for a photochemical etching company, and we had these thin metal parts that went in some components that actually were on Mars. And the big issue nowadays seems to be NDAs. Like, I hate NDAs. I understand why people sign them and I understand why people have them, but it really does put kind of a kink into, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My headphones did something weird. So I was like, did I cut out? But it really does put a kink in how manufacturers are able to talk about themselves. So I always try to tell manufacturers there is a way to share those stories and be very vague about them, and just say, hey, you don't necessarily have to focus on that component and that specific company, but maybe focus on the process of that component and how it's helping other companies, so that you're still telling that story of why it's important to do business with you. Another thing I think companies should try to do more of is testimonials, because that's like going to showcase your credibility. So if you can get a few customers who aren't so picky about the NDAs and have them just say, hey, this is why I like this company. These are the reasons why we get along. This is why I trust them. Here's a few notes about their team and why they're so easy to work with. That's really going to help open the doors for other businesses to come in. I think word of mouth is still a huge component to how businesses get leads. So just try to, build those trusting relationships and brag about yourself as much as you can. I shouldn't say brag because that sounds like not humble or anything, but I think definitely work on that. Social media is another thing. There's a lot of companies that are being too forceful in their energy, and you can tell. So it's like, just be yourself, just be a human being, just be who you are. Don't try to oversell yourself or over energize yourself. Like, if you're a person that's kind of snarky and, sarcastic, put that in your voice, put that in your tone. Not everybody's going to like you, and that's okay. When I first started out with Mavens, I had a bunch of people come up to me and tell me who I should be like and who I shouldn't be like. And I just think that's the worst piece of advice that you can give someone.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Just be yourself. Just be yourself. And try something at least once. I know video is a huge thing, but if you suck at video, please don't do it. Like, just don't do it.
Now, Damon,
I love that.
I guess we need to cancel.
Let's end the show.
We need to cancel the show.
Yeah, right now.
Like, if you want to do
We
video
didn't hear that.
and you're terrible at it, just please don't do it, because you can tell off the camera. And this is coming from someone that is not very good at video. But there's people that I know that can help you with that.
Yeah.
Like, there is. So if you need recommendations, I would love to give you the recommendations. And I'm saying this coming from a place where my first video was freaking terrible. It was so bad. But then I connected with the right people and I got some tips. I still have a lot of work to do, as you can tell. But again, if you are not very good at something, please don't do it. Like, just hire someone that can help.
Ask for help. I totally know what you mean. I've worked with manufacturers who are fierce introverts, and they on camera they were just robots. Just no, the personality that I saw them that was just
This
so
iPhone
vibrant
weighs
didn't come
4.7
through.
ounces and 3.25 inches wide. But yeah,
But when you have someone who can help them, direct them, it can
Yeah.
really bring out their personality. So it is true to find that right person.
Just make the investment.
Yeah. So our mutual friend Megan, I know you're good friends with Jeff Long. We all love Jeff
Yeah.
Long. Hopefully his ears are burning right now. Great
Yeah.
video expert for manufacturers. However, you know what? Now, Nicole, we've also found, Megan hit some phenomenal points,
Mhm.
testimonials, case
Yes.
studies, getting the message out about your team. We found those fierce those fierce introverts. Where do they thrive, Miss Nicole? Where do they thrive?
They thrive on camera. They thrive on lives.
They thrive on our live stream. So what's
Yeah.
fascinating, Megan,
they
we've
really
been
do.
bringing a lot of our
Mhm.
clients on the live stream show, and they're like
Mhm.
kicking and screaming and don't want to come on, and the painful introverts,
Yeah.
and they come on and they just blow us
They
away.
light up.
Yeah.
So again, if you're a little intimidated by the whole camera thing, I'm going to come back. There was a great comment here, Natalie. Thank you for dropping us. So Megan, how about a little warmth for
Yeah.
Megan here, our amazing, incredible, esteemed guest. Loving the answer about oversensitivity. I wish more people would be open to communication instead of judging. I know we've got some great comments here in the comments.
Oh, yeah. Just keep
Jan,
going.
happy Monday to Jan. Be authentic, be real, earn your clients' respect. Love that. You should be like you. Don't worry about anybody else.
Yes.
And guys, we're here with Megan Zimba, the manufacturing maven. So, Nicole, what else do you have? I know you
Oh,
have.
man. Well, sheesh. So I just have to say about being you. I just had a conversation with a client about this last week, and she's just like, I don't know what to say on LinkedIn. I see that you do it this way, Nicole, and I see that this person does it this way, and I just don't want to bare my soul on LinkedIn. I'm like, you don't need to bare your soul.
I don't have
Just
to.
be you. What is it that you share yourself? So I love that. I think that's so true, and it lets go of some of the pressure of having to feel like you need to be a certain way. So yeah, I think that's really great. And testimonials, I love the idea, and Kurt has done this really well, where you can combine testimonials with storytelling, where it's you get to bring the story of that relationship, how you came together, the magic that happened, and turn it into a really cool story that shows how great the partnership is and what good it brought to the company. So
that's actually one of the things that I'm getting most of my clients from now is they need help writing their testimonials. And how can I do it if I have an NDA? And I'm like, it's really not that hard. I'll show you how to do it. So yeah, it's been fun because I think people want to hear more of the stories. And I mean, we've all seen this as marketers. No one really cares about the features. Like they just want to know that what your solution is going to help with their problem. So how is your solution going to help their problem? And you can't be so like company focused. You have to be customer focused. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are doing their own research now and they want to buy from a company that they trust. And that's including Gen Z. Like Gen Z is really focused on where they're getting their products from, who's selling it, who's supporting it, who's advocating for it. And like my daughter's so obsessed with the Kardashians. I have no idea why, but she gets a lot of their products that they recommend. And I'm just like, please stop doing that. Like that's not the family. I don't get it.
Well, God, you know what? And just I know when we were young, Megan, we were all in sorts of goofy things, right? So, hey, Elizabeth drops another great comment here. One of the key components of successful marketing from introverts is empathy, emotional intelligence. I know that's a great line there. Let's go here, Megan, as we start winding down this amazing, incredible, wonderful interview. You have really, I mean, what you've done in the past few years to create, if you're comfortable with me using the word influencer, you're such a, and if you're comfortable with the word influencer, I know Damon, you hate that word. How about a positive influence or just a really driving force behind manufacturing, Maven's manufacturing? Damon, you've done an amazing job. We've become fast friends, business partners here because of LinkedIn. Nicole, our relationship is thanks to LinkedIn. Megan, I know you through LinkedIn. If folks are out there, they're a little intimidated of manufacturers, like, hey, I know this LinkedIn is good for you marketing people, but I don't know about me as a manufacturer. Can you just share what you've done, like share your journey? And I know I love your humility. You don't have to be totally humble, but just talk about what has LinkedIn done for you, your family, your career over the past 3 years?
I don't think it's just for us marketing people. Like there's companies and CEOs that are on here. So there's a lot of companies that are looking for employees on here. One of the things that I'm trying to do with the students that I talk to is get them on LinkedIn. So the team that I'm going to be mentoring, they don't have a LinkedIn page. So I'm going to talk to them about the importance of LinkedIn and why they should be on it and not just all of the other social channels. Somebody did put a comment on here about TikTok that I thought was interesting, but it helps build connections, right? You don't have to travel around the world to meet people now. You can actually just go on your computer, put a couple of keywords in the search box on LinkedIn. So if you're looking for someone that's in recruiting, if you're looking for someone that does packaging, if you're looking for someone that's in semiconductors, like you can punch in those keywords and it's going to bring up individuals that have that in their profile. It's going to bring up companies. There's a nice feature on there if you're looking for a new job. They always have the job feature on there so you can look all throughout the world where different positions are. It's really a good connection to have on LinkedIn if you're looking for opportunities and bringing in clients. So I have not just the Mavens page, but I also have the Z Inc page. It's not as active as the Mavens one is right now. I'm going to try to work on that a little bit more so people can actually see more of my writing stuff. But I mean, it helped me quit corporate. I don't have to work for somebody. I work on my own now, and I've been doing it for 3 years and it's been successful. So if you're looking for new leads, definitely go on LinkedIn and put yourself out there and message people and, but don't try to pitch them right away. Like I get a lot of pitches right away and I just delete those and block those people because it's just like, you know nothing about me personally. I don't want this relationship with you.
That's not a good thing, Megan. You don't want to pitch.
No.
You don't.
I think I mentioned this too on a podcast. There was a couple of them, and maybe I should start growing my hair out more. I don't know, but there's been a couple that messaged me and they were like, "Sir," and I'm like, "Who are you talking to?" Because I'm not a sir, but okay, yeah. Like you see my picture, and it's So I don't know. It's just funny. Everybody's like, it's a bot. And I'm like, I don't know if it's a bot. Even if it is a bot, like, okay, cool.
Now, Megan, next time you do come on the show, we are going to shave something on the side here of our, right? So anyway, but that's another story. But all right, can you share with everybody out there, please familiarize them with your show. Who are you interviewing? 123 episodes. How about a big round of applause?
Awesome.
For just being what a fierce advocate. All three of us on the stage here, Nicole, Damon, myself, we know how hard it is to, that consistency, to be putting out that content, interviewing folks on a regular basis. Introduce anybody that's not familiar with your show. Talk to them about Mavens and Manufacturing, some of the episodes and guests that you have coming up.
Yeah, so Mavens is just a platform for women who are in engineering and manufacturing, the trades, to come on and share their story and what their skill sets are and how they got involved with engineering and manufacturing. Because I noticed that before in our society, like we didn't really pitch this sector to women when they were going through high school. And a lot of the conversations I have, women are like, oh, I fell into this completely by accident. So I want to share those stories so that we can come up with ideas to be more purposeful in promoting it to women. And it's not just women on the shop floor. It's actually C-suite leaders and, people starting out, people that changed careers. I had a few second chance women on. I'm also interviewing students because I want to hear their perspective as well and why they might be thinking about joining engineering or manufacturing and what are some of the obstacles they are facing as students. I did talk to a couple of interns at Automate who purposely went to career booths at their high school that only had women representing the tables. So any table that did not have a woman, they skipped over those companies, and those companies lost out on some really amazing internships. So just things like that to bring to the forefront so that we can all start thinking about how to change our strategies in recruiting and brand awareness. I had Ray Ripple on, who is a metal artist. She was also on a TV series where she was competing, and I think she got pretty far in that series. This week, I have Nicole Calhoun. She actually teaches people how to be better leaders and what what their weaknesses are and their strengths are. She's going to be speaking at the Empowering Women in Industry event that's coming up in October. Some other guests that I'm hoping to talk to are Anissa Mutana, who's from Illinois. She works at metal grinding. She's actually CEO and owner of a metal grinding company. I'm going to an AMT event in Austin, so I'm going to be talking to the AMT ladies there, which is MC, Bonnie, and Catherine, and they're also in charge of IMTS, so it's going to be interesting to hear what they have coming up for IMTS. And then yeah, I'm booking for 2024. So there's a few people that I still need to talk to book dates for 2024. Another woman that I want to interview, her name is Da'ila. She's actually a welding teacher, and she wasn't planning on being a welding instructor, and then she got pulled into it. And she said that her first year teaching, there was only like 2 girls in her welding class. And then the following year, she had like 6 or 8. Wow. So the students were talking about her and like, oh yes, this class is awesome. So she's like, it just proves that, you know, if you can inspire that next generation, they're going to talk about you with their friends, and then their friends are going to get interested in it, and you're going to pull them in. So a lot of interesting guests. I had Barbie the welder on for a past episode. Some of my favorite episodes were actually with the original Rosie the Riveters. So I had some women on who were actually Rosie the Riveters. They were in their 90s.
Wow. Incredible.
Yeah. So just amazing people overall. For next year too, I want to do more panel discussions on some of the serious issues that are going on. So I have something coming up with Ali G and another gentleman who are going to talk about cybersecurity and what that means with some of these components that we need to start programming the robotics and everything. Ali has a lot of opinions on that, and should be a really interesting conversation. And then I have a couple of international trips that I'm planning. I'm hoping to go to Ireland and speak to an engineering school there that is trying to pull more women into their engineering fields. I actually sent a couple shirts to them last year, and she reached out to me this year, and they sent me some stuff that they were making in their class, and then they also sent me a t-shirt. I'm hoping to go to Denmark, and then in Canada, there's a gentleman named Hank Priam. He has 2 daughters. He calls them the Junior Board of Directors. They watch Mavens every Friday, so I'm actually going to go to Canada and interview them and talk to them about some of the things that they're doing. I think they're like 9 and 10 years old. So it should be a fun interview.
Wow.
Okay.
Very cool.
Damon, do you feel like an underachiever right now
Yeah.
or what? I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I got work to do.
Just
Holy
step up
cow,
the game
Nicole.
here.
I was like, I have our guest book for September. I'm like, I was thrilled to be out a month ahead. I'm like, man,
Yeah.
it's into 2024. So,
Yeah.
man, if you know friends, family, I know, like, you know, you're certainly not actively searching for guests, or maybe you are, but boy, if you know somebody that's just crushing at manufacturing, reach out to Megan, Nicole. I've got a few people that come to mind that'd be great.
Yes.
Now, there's a rumor going around, Megan. I don't know if
Yes.
there's any truth to this, that you might have been nominated for some type of an award. Are my sources accurate? I don't know. I need to confirm that.
Yeah, so Empowering Women in Industry is an organization that Charlie Matthews founded, and I met her at IMTS in 2022. We were both part of the Creators Lounge, and it's a great organization for women to get together and just support one another in what we're doing. And I actually got nominated for an Industry Advocacy Award. So
Congratulations.
I'm hoping, but if not, it is really amazing to be part of such a list of elite women, because there are a ton of women in this sector that are doing amazing things. And that is really the point of Mavens. I'm just trying to highlight them all so that, the next generations can be like, wow, that's what I want to be. I want to be just like that and do the things that person's doing. So hopefully it's working.
So inspiring. Nicole, as we wind down, words of wisdom, any feedback, what were big takeaways for you today with this amazing conversation with Megan?
Some of my biggest takeaways are just, Megan, what a great job you're doing at building relationships. I mean, just the care and thought that you put into all the relationships and all the people that you've met, that really comes through. And I think that's really inspiring to me, is how much you invest in those relationships, and you can tell that you really care for each individual person that you meet, and that you want to help each person, the one, not, and that will impact the many. So that really came across to me. That was just really inspiring. I love your approach. You really are focused on those relationships, and it shows. And I do have a question for you, though. One question. What do you see? Like, I'm just super curious because you've been in this industry so long.
Mhm.
What do you think is going really well? What do you see has changed or shifted since you've been doing this, as you've been an advocate? Like, what kind of changes are you starting to see that you're really excited about, or that you feel like, is kind of tide turning a little bit?
I'm definitely seeing more women supporting women and being confident in themselves. I know there's a word going around called imposter syndrome, and I'm sure men have it too, but women tend to be a little bit harder on themselves, I think, in terms of like, am I qualified for this job and do I really belong here? And the answer is yes, you do. And it's okay to have those doubts. We all do. But I feel more women coming together as groups and as tribes, supporting one another. And, I actually have a text message group with a bunch of my girlfriends that I met on LinkedIn. And anytime we're going through a hard time or having a bad day or having that self-doubt, we just text that group, and the rest of the women rally around each other and are like, no, you got to stop thinking that way. Like, you can do this. Like, it's okay. And we really just help each other out business wise too. Like, we try to connect each other to other individuals that we think would be successful. The other thing that I see changing is a lot of men too are being more vocal about it. Like, I'm not going to say that, we need to push all the old white guys out, because no, we need them too as part of the sector. And if it wasn't for a lot of those old white guys, I probably would not be in the sector at all. So I'm seeing more support for men allies as well too. And I see more men asking questions like, how can I be a better supporter for women? What can I do? How can I put my boots to the ground? Do you have any suggestions? So they're actually reaching out and having those conversations. And I think that's great. I think the more we talk to one another and brainstorm with each other, the better ideas we can come up with, and then bring more people on.
Bam, drop the mic. All right, before we lose anybody, so you've been sitting around for this past however long it's been, this amazing, incredible conversation. It's a great time to stand up, give a little stretch. And how about a big standing ovation for Megan Ziemba? I know we're coming to the bottom of the hour, but Megan, I have to hang on. You've got to hang on for one more minute. Damon, takeaways, thoughts. What are you walking away with? Just this. I mean, it's mind blowing every time we talk to Megan. What your takeaways today?
I just love your honest approach.
Aww.
I mean, there's just nothing more than, this is the way I see it. I'm out here to help people, and this is what I'm going to do. And just keep doing it. Keep doing it. It's what we need. Because you hit so many good things today that were important for us, not just in manufacturing, but anywhere. Just keep doing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Megan, first off, thank you. We applaud you. We salute you. We commend you. You're just such a fierce advocate for manufacturing. You're an inspirational mom. You're a good friend to so many people. And just, we love you. We adore you. We are rooting you on. When you're having those tough days, drop us a note. We are right here in your corner supporting you. Nicole, Damon, I wasn't going to do this, but Megan, if you have another minute, I have to go here. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you a baseball fan?
I am.
Are you a big baseball fan?
I am for a specific team.
What team? Who's your team?
The Chicago Cubs.
You're a Cubsy. Okay. You're huge Cubs fan. Absolutely love it. Here we go. Are you ready? Are you sitting down? Here we go.
Okay.
Cubs are playing the Cardinals. It's the bottom of the ninth. It's a tie score. There's somebody on second base. And the manager, Ross, right, the catcher that won the World Series for the Chicago Cubs in 2016, is now the manager. If I have that right, he needs somebody to hit in the winning run. He turns down the bench and he looks and says, "Hey, Ziemba, get up to the plate. I've got dinner reservations. We've got to end this game. Can you please hit in the winning run?" As you're walking up to the plate to hit the winning run, what is your walk-up song?
Wow, that's a great question.
Isn't it really good?
You're
I'm
in
dying.
Wrigley.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little. I'm distracting everybody else. Ready? And guys, drop a note in the comment. Tell Megan how awesome she was. It's bottom of the ninth. You're playing the Cards. There's somebody on second base. You've got to hit in the winning run. What song needs to come on the loudspeaker for you to hit that winning run?
Maybe this is a little macabre, but the metal song "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor." That part where they're like, the fun part where they're like, "Ah." I'm walking up right when he does the scream in that song.
Yeah,
you know
that,
what I'm
like
talking about?
that's putting in the winning run for you, right?
Get me
That's
going.
awesome.
You know, like
Perfect.
everybody just drop to the floor because she's gonna hit it out of the park. I
Nice.
don't know.
That's awesome.
Megan, thank you. You never disappoint, my friend. That you never disappoint. So, all right, let's go here. Megan, again, thank you guys. Connect with Megan on LinkedIn. Please
Yeah.
follow her. Check out her show. It's on Fridays. Mavens of Manufacturing. Just follow everything that she does. Any young folks that are thinking about manufacturing, send them Megan's way because, boy, she will convert them into a raving manufacturing fan. So, guys, we're going to close out.
And
Megan,
real quick, if you need T-shirts for your youngins, let me know because I love sending out merch to all of the kiddos that are interested in engineering manufacturing.
we got Mavens of
Very cool.
Manufacturing swag. I might have to hit you up with my daughter for that one. So, all right, guys,
Please do.
thank you. God bless everybody. We're back here Friday for another
Yeah.
amazing, incredible guest. You guys have a killer, amazing week. And like how we love to close out, just be someone's inspiration, man. Just like Megan is just inspiring everybody in her network. Just be someone's inspiration. And boy, it just makes the world a better place. So, guys, have a great week, and we'll see you soon.